I'm with you to the end.
Die, you bitch!
Venom The Last Dance is another Sony superhero film, a company who will be releasing more Marvel movies than actual Marvel this year. Yes, Madam Web was up first, a movie so bad it just got pointed and laughed at.
Where's my spider? They took my spider.
Damn! He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
That man's trying to kill you. What? Who are you? What is going on?
Help! Master! I'm stuck in the washing machine!
Today we'll be reviewing Venom The Last Dance, then in December, Kraven the Hunter.
I stared death in the face, and for the first time, I saw my true self.
What's that now?
There is an animal in each one of us.
Don't you want to know why they call me the Rhino?
I'll smash my fucking head through a brick wall.
But with Kraven, well,
A good question for another time.
before we get into the review, let's briefly talk about Sony's venture into Marvel films since Venom. It's been shit. Look at any one of them and they are bad. The Venom first two films were just not good. Morbius was terrible, Madam Web was terrible, and now we're at the third Venom movie and none of them have improved. The first film had a pretty decent director attached to it, Ruben Fleischer. Then they got Andy Serkis, which, you know, he directed Venom Let There Be Carnage, which was his big budget directorial film. So you'd think the next film, Sony would be like, alright, we need to get a new director with more experience. Right? Right? Wrong! Enter Kelly Marcel, coming in with her directorial debut. She has been a writer and producer on the last two Venom films, so this is pretty much a big promotion for her. Congratulations on that part. I'm glad that she got promoted to director. I hope she makes other films in the future so I can properly judge her work, because comparing it to this movie, I hope it gets better for her. But for now, we are looking at this absolute shit sandwich that is Venom The Last Dance.
Say when.
When?
So, Venom The Last Dance starts off in a bar, where I'd rather be right now. Venom and Eddie are confused that he's in the MCU now. However, they make some adjustments from the post-credit scene from the end of No Way Home. So instead of him disappearing because of the Doctor Strange spell, he is sent back because Null, the big bad, teleported him home. However, because of the events of the previous film, Eddie is still a wanted fugitive, so to escape, he wants to go to New York. Now, dear viewer, if you remember the original point of why Eddie and Venom want to go to New York was supposed to be because of Spider-Man in the post-credit scene for the last two Spider-Man films. But in this movie, he wants to go there because he has some dirt on a judge which he wants to get this case thrown out so he's no longer a fugitive. I'm not sure if you can do that in a different city. Also, you know the cops are trying to find you, so I don't think going to New York City would be the greatest options, right? Well, if you had any of those questions, shut up, dear viewer. It's a road trip movie now, and Sony is going to milk this franchise dry for whatever they can get out of it. It's like milking a tit out of an almond. It's not really that great, but they're gonna milk it anyway. And yes, you heard me right. It is essentially a road trip movie, with the government trying to track Venom down, as he isn't the only symbiote they know of. So the government and Null, with the help of his little henchman thingies, are after Venom. The government because, well, it's the government and it's a movie with aliens. And Null because Venom has the Codex, which will free Null from his prison, and then he will, well, what else? Take over the world.
Of course!
Oh, and along the way, there's like a family Eddie meets. and they really serve no purpose to the story besides someone for Venom to save, and for them to save Venom at one point. And that's it. Realistically, you could cut them out from the movie and nothing would change. At least in the Justice League version, they were innocents on the ground, so you've got someone to save. But it's just sort of like, why do we need families in pointless climax movies? I just don't get that. It's stupid, really, because we need to show the guy's a good guy, but we can't do that by any other means.
Hey, man.
And that's pretty much the movie. It's a film that exists. Somehow it's making money, so I guess people are enjoying the Venom movies for some reason, but not me. This movie is a bore. There is nothing of substance, nothing creative, and nothing interesting in terms of story moments or character beats. I will give credit that there is one scene where Tom Hardy gets emotional, and it was a very well performed moment. It's a really good moment in the film. Too bad it's in a piece of shit, but still, credit where credit is due. The action is uninteresting and cheap. The visual effects are genuinely terrible. Some of the worst I have seen in the series, bar none. At least in Let There Be Carnage, there was this awesome sequence where it was in a church and they had some really cool shots. Same as in the first film, there were some cool shots, and him getting used to the new symbiote was an interesting concept. In this movie, the visual effects can't help it, and the action scenes feel sort of static and boring. I'll give you an example of a scene that I thought was terrible. There is a river scene, and it's basically Venom is trying to escape the government agents who are trying to get him. And, it just seemed like a moment out of a PlayStation 3 game. I'm being serious. It looks genuinely cheap, terrible, and nasty. It is bad. There's moments where it's in the water where you can see the stuntman and it looks genuinely good. But then all of a sudden it cuts to a close-up on Tom Hardy and it looks just as bad as those old 1960s sort of, shots where you have the background and it just looks fake. It just does not look good. It looks cheap. The writing and the point of this movie is essentially go from point A to point B sort of story and stuff happens in between. There is no through line, but at least in road trip movies, you've got entertainment to carry the storyline, such as great action, great comedy, but there's nothing here. The visual effects are bad. The action scenes are laughable. It's just not good. So the standard A to B plotline just does not work. Also, because we have aliens and we're in Nevada, we have to have Area 51. Also, there is some secret organization that we never see, again. So I guess that's sequel baiting for another day. For fuck's sakes, why can't we have a beginning, middle, and end now in films nowadays? Or even in media in general. It's always setting up the next sequel, setting up the next storyline. Why can't we just have beginning, middle, and done? In terms of positives, I give it props that there is one emotional moment that I like. It was decently acted. The Eddie Brock and Venom dynamic is still very good. I'm not a big fan of the Venom movies, but I will say that Tom Hardy commits, and he is pretty decent when he's acting alongside essentially a voice in his head. Mordo from the Doctor Strange movies was a fine generic general who changes his ways and turns into a reluctant ally because of course he does. Other than that, there's no other reason to watch this movie realistically. Bad action, bad plot, bad characters. I might as well spoil the movie since I'm sure none of you care anyway, so spoiler warning if you frickin' care. So, Venom is captured by the government because he wanted to dance with Mrs. Chu from the last couple of movies, which is kind of weird considering how she's the only returning character in all 3 movies, but whatever. And that also sets off the Codex, which alerts the alien trackers sent by Null. Alright, I forgot to tell you, they can sense him because in his full Venom form, it sets off a signal. Anyway, the government takes him to Area 55 because if Area 51 is closing down and Generic General wants to kill him, but oh no, the tracker aliens come in and tries to take him away. Then the other symbiotes, held captive by the government, are free and latch onto some humans as they try to fight the aliens and protect Venom. Also, in the last movie, there was a detective that was infected with a symbiote. Yeah, he just dies here. He just dies. Like, no reason at all. It's just there. He's dead. What was the point of that? Just genuinely, what was the point of bringing back him in the sequel to just kill him off? That's stupid. That's just ass writing. Also, when all these humans are infected with the symbiote, the suiting up scene just reminds me of that shitty ass 2017 Power Rangers movie.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
So now the military or the government and symbiotes team up to kill the aliens, but they are indestructible. All seems lost until Venom sacrifices himself to kill all the aliens using acid that was set up briefly, like in one shot. He gets Eddie to safety, and also General Mordo sacrifices himself to also kill the aliens, because of course he does. It wouldn't be a generic redemption for a generic general. Aliens die, Null goes to sleep, and one of the scientist ladies has an electrical symbiote and can do super speed, and that's the climax. That's it. Eddie then goes to New York. We have a montage with Maroon 5 for some ungodly reason, and it just covers the last 3 films, and then he just looks at the Statue of Liberty and goes, "I'll never forget you, buddy." The end. That's it. That's the entire climax of the ending. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
But wait! There's more!
2 post-credit scenes. Now, of course, we've got a Marvel movie, so of course, we've gotta have a post-credit scene. You can't just fucking walk out of the theater, even though you probably can, but I was curious what they were. So, the first one was with Null, who is now awake, even though he should be in eternal slumber now, because that was the whole point of the movie, but fuck it, it's a Sony movie, so details don't fucking matter. And he swears revenge because of course he does, and that he'll be back.
Ugh, God, kill me.
Then another scene where we find a character from the opening who is now alive, and then we see a cockroach. Is this supposed to be like a part of Venom's symbiote is on it? I don't know or even care. I just want this to be over. The end. And that's the film. A terrible, incoherent mess that is pretty on brand for the Sony universe. There is no stakes, no weight to the action. It looks like ass, but by God, it surprises me how crap it was. I give Sony's Venom The Last Dance an 8 out of 10 beers. I was gonna give it a 9, but there were a couple of moments where I'm like, I can see a nugget of something there. It's not good, but it's something there. But what the fuck, man? Sony, come on, man. It's better than Madam Web, but that ain't saying much. And yes, we will be getting a fucking 3rd Sony movie with Craven in December. Who fucking Ray? Anyway, Sony has admittedly had some wins creatively with the Spider-Verse movies, as well as their collaboration with the MCU. So admittedly, it's not all bad, but when it comes to their own live-action movies, it does seem as though there is a problem with that team. So, Sony, just take the L with your live action movies and move on. Stick to making Spider-Verse movies and spider-related movies, okay? Just take the L when it comes to this whole live action movie thing and just move on. I know you all want money, but come back with a good idea at the very least. Then we will talk about your future. But for now, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with Sony movies until like December, where I have to watch Craven for some ungodly reason. But screw it. I'm gonna make my friends go watch it. I can't do this alone. I went with my sister, and I don't think I can convince her to watch Craven, unless she wants to watch it for Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah, I could probably convince her with that. But anyway, dear viewer, thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate you, and I'm thankful that you are sticking by me in this weird time period. I just want to say, please take care to everyone, and as always, have a good one.